Use CSS Grid. Before diving into code, let's explore why CSS Grid is so powerful. 1. It is perfect for complex layouts. Unlike Flexbox, which works best for linear arrangements, rows or columns, Grid lets you create full-page layouts with precise control. 2. Less CSS is required. No more relying on position, float, or excessive margin hacks. 3. It is flexible and responsive. You define your layout once, and it automatically adapts to different screen sizes. 4. It has more control over alignment. You can easily place elements anywhere on the grid without adjusting HTML structure. 5. Work seamlessly with Flexbox. Use Grid for overall page structure and Flexbox for individual components inside it. Now that you understand why CSS Grid is so powerful, let's build a practical layout step by step. Getting started with CSS Grid. To use Grid, set display to Grid on a container. Then, define columns and rows using Grid template columns and Grid template rows. The sample code on the screen will create a 2-column, 2-row grid with equal-sized cells. Defining flexible grid columns and rows. Rather than fixed pixel values, you can use fractional units, FR, percentages, or auto. The example on the screen adjusts the columns dynamically based on available space, which is perfect for responsive design. Creating a full web page layout with CSS Grid. Let's apply Grid to a real-world example, a basic web page with a header, sidebar, main content, and footer. You can follow with the code on the screen. How does this work? We use Grid template columns to create a sidebar and main content area. Grid template areas assigns named sections, making the CSS easier to read. The layout remains responsive, adapting to different screen sizes. Congratulations! You've just created a fully structured page layout using CSS Grid. Making the grid responsive. To make the grid adapt to smaller screens, use @media queries. The example on the screen changes the layout to stack items vertically on mobile devices, ensuring better readability. Advanced CSS Grid features. Spanning multiple columns and rows. If you need an element to take up more than one row or column, use Grid column and Grid row as shown in the example on the right. It is great for banners or hero sections that need full width coverage. Aligning grid items. You can align items within their grid cells using these attributes and values. 1. Justify item center. This centers items horizontally inside cells. 2. Align item center. This centers items vertically inside cells. 3. Place item center. This centers items both horizontally and vertically. The example on the right ensures consistent alignment across the entire layout. CSS Grid versus Flexbox, when to use each. CSS Grid and Flexbox work together, but they serve different purposes. Flexbox is best used for aligning elements in a row or column. For example, nav bar, buttons, and forms. CSS Grid is best used for full-page layouts where elements need to be arranged in both directions. By now, you've seen how CSS Grid can simplify complex layouts, making your designs more flexible, readable, and responsive.